Hey listeners, I'm Erica.
And I'm Sean.
We are co-owners of Code 1 Barbecue in Wilmington, Massachusetts, and we're here at WCTV on location recording Through Fire and Oak, a podcast about what it's like to run a small business, manage a family, and get through life every day.
I like that one.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Through Fire and Oak, and it is our mid-season premiere. We're excited to be here at WCTV in the podcast studio, and it's been a long summer. How you doing? How you doing, Sean?
It's been a minute.
I feel like this is the first time we've spent together in like 6 months.
Actually, no, it doesn't feel that way at all.
This is why we podcast, get us out of the kitchen. What do you mean you spent all night without me, enjoying the luxury of your life with your rocking chair at the kitchen?
Cooking.
Well, smoking meat.
Yeah. What else am I supposed to be doing? Running a marathon?
I definitely could think of a few other things you could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, running a marathon. That would have helped you today.
Yeah, it would have.
It would have helped you on the long walk to WCTV studios.
Never again.
So our car is at Wrap Solutions in Wilmington, and we're getting the Code 1 Barbecue logo wrapped all over our car so we can drive around and advertise and, tell everybody who we are. And we made an appointment for the podcast recording, so we had to walk. We could.
We did? Or you did?
I did. And then I told you about it yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was Sam who messaged us about something else on WCTV and said, "Oh, see you tomorrow for your recording." And you're like, "Wait, what? What's going on?" So we could have Ubered, but you said, "Hey, let's walk." And I said, "Are you sure? It's like a mile and a half." Or how long was it?
It was a mile and a half into it. And then we did another mile and a half.
I don't think it was that long. Afterwards, I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
But we walked, and we made it, and I kept having to stop and wait for you to catch up, and we got here. And
Olympic fast walker you are.
This is why I wake up and exercise every day.
Me.
Okay. So today's episode, we are going into Behind the Smoker. It's a day in the life of what it's like to actually open, run, and close the restaurant, and how we manage to work together throughout the day.
Yes.
And we've touched on some of this stuff in the past, and some of the other episodes that we've had, but we really haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty of what we really do all day long and what it's like. We had we mentioned in a previous episode, we had a person review us on Yelp and give us a 1-star review because when they walked into the restaurant, we were out of some food that they wanted, and it seemed like it was a very unbusy day, and we were dead, and we shouldn't have run out of that food.
Right.
So.
Because he was the first one in the restaurant that day.
Well.
That's what drives me nuts.
Well, she was not. She came in during what we call the dead zone in the middle of the afternoon after the lunch and before the dinner rush, which every restaurant has.
Yep.
So you ready to get started?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, take the lead. Go.
And pause. Yeah, they were just angry that, it was, what time of day was that? That was at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we always have this part of the day every single day, and most restaurants have this, I guess, unless maybe, you're one of those unique restaurants that doesn't. But there is a shift from lunch to dinner where you only get some stragglers that walk in the restaurant. You'll only have a couple of online orders. We call it the dead zone.
Yeah, and it's
about 2 hours.
And it's mostly during the week because you have...
Yeah, it doesn't really happen on the weekends.
You have your lunch crowd, right?
Right.
People who are, taking their lunch during the week, and then they're back to work. So from like 1 to 3, we're trying to basically restock the restaurant.
Yeah, we clean the counters because, the lunch rush is crazy. So then we have to, replace all of the utensils, sanitize everything, restock all of the products, check the menu, make sure we still have enough food left for everything, cook some stuff in the kitchen and get it ready, for the rest of the day and,
Yep.
Work towards the dinner rush. There's usually a shift change right in the middle of the afternoon.
Yep.
So it's actually quite helpful because you don't have to do all of that while you have, 30
Yeah,
people
30
standing
people
up.
sitting looking at you.
Yeah.
And there's times where we don't, like weekends is like
Yeah.
we open the doors at 11:30 and then, like Saturday,
Let's talk about what it's like on a Saturday.
you open the doors at 11:30 and then you get either a very large rush of phone calls or a very large rush of people at the door. And then you have sometimes both. And everyone is
And
on.
online ordering, and I'm getting screamed at to shut up online ordering.
And everybody's on fire.
DoorDash is ordering the wrong stuff. Why?
Yeah, exactly.
I marked that out of stock.
Right. So, it gets a little crazy at times. And, we have to tell people that, their order isn't going to be done in 10 minutes. And you might want to take a very small walk around the parking lot.
We've got the dollar store. We've got Savers.
Yep.
Get your nails done
Get
at the
your
nail
nails
salon.
done. Yep. So it's,
I mean, we've even had folks go next door to have a drink
yeah.
at Casablanca.
We should be telling people that more often. That way when they come back, they're not as mad.
Yeah. They don't mind waiting as long after they've had a nice margarita.
I have to say, though, that like 98% of people don't mind waiting. Like, we talk about the people that, don't like to wait, but there's more than likely, and more often than not, the people that are tremendous. They're like, oh, yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Like waiting in line. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to sit here.
They can see that we're busy.
Yeah.
And
it's good food to wait for. It's not like waiting in line for a fast food chain, and
right.
It's what you order and you know what you're getting, and it's all scratch made.
Yeah, we make everything from scratch. Like it's, and our day starts long before the doors open. And any restaurant is like this, but for us, our days really start days before the restaurant even opens because we're in there prepping days in advance, and as the main people. Taking care of this restaurant. We're running all of the errands. We're getting all of the, deliveries and all of the food. And we're working on delegating. It's a little bit easier for me than it is for you to delegate tasks. You want to try to do everything yourself.
Well, it's just because of the consistency of the food off the pit. It's not
Well,
easy.
even just like accepting deliveries or running errands and stuff like that. Like you're like, no, not only do you want to do it all yourself, you want me to do it with you.
The errands are one thing, but like Leo and the guys, they take in the meat order.
Yeah.
And now we have Blake helping me, with meat trim, and he's doing all the burgers for us.
Finally, it's almost 2 years into the restaurant, and we're like, okay.
We're still trying to figure out getting sausages out the door.
So sometimes in the middle of we're closed Mondays and Tuesdays right now.
Mondays and Tuesdays.
As we head into the fall. And we've tried some various hours and some various things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll be sitting there on a Tuesday. The kitchen guys will be prepping and I'll be, doing the business side of things. And you'll be like, all right, you want to come get some charcoal with me? And then I'll be like, okay, so do you want to do the sales and the marketing and the social media and the catering and, the planning and the organizing and schedule everybody while I go get that with you?
That's a no. I'll go. Yeah, it's just, we don't get a ton of time to do things together. So
what you're saying is that's your way of trying to spend time with me?
Yeah. And you're like, no thanks.
No.
Nope, can't do it.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Nope, see ya.
I'm too busy. I got stuff to do. I've been up since 5:30 a.m. working.
Yeah, and it's people don't realize how long of a day it can be for everybody, even the kitchen staff. Like, those times where we're trying to prep for just the restaurant, and then in comes Erica with, hi, we have, oh boy. So I took a couple of phone calls, and there's 80 racks of ribs, and maybe a few dozen full trays of food.
Mac and cheese,
Mac
please.
and cheese. And, we didn't know about it. And
yeah, it's due tomorrow, so let's
noon.
go.
And it's due right as we're opening. So
I've gotten much better at scheduling people across the day.
It's tough because you don't want to say no to people, right? And when you're looking at these things, it's like, oh, it's only a few more racks of ribs and a couple of briskets but on the other end, the kitchen staff is already done.
Well, the meat has nothing to really do with any, but it's you. It's
Yeah.
you that I'm affecting the most because we get stuff done.
Yeah.
But that speaks to a good point because on all sides of it, we're so caught up and wrapped up in our roles and responsibilities that we're working that, we forget to see how that's affecting the other person. Like,
Yeah, because you're trying to run a business.
So how do we, I'm trying to run the business and, I hate to put it bluntly like this, but I'm the sole revenue driver for the company right now. We don't have anybody else driving in any revenue. And recently we had a conversation about this, how I set a goal at the beginning of the year, and I set that goal to double our revenue. And
you forgot to put it in your own brain that, we need another smoker.
Yeah,
and another pit master.
Another pit master. I forgot to think about, and this is a common theme, because you'll do this stuff too, but I forgot to think about other people in this goal. Yeah, I could totally bring in that much in revenue, and I could totally increase our catering by that much, but can we even handle that capacity?
Yeah, with the capacity that we already have.
So I'm over here setting goals of what I want to do, and I'm not really paying attention to what we can actually do.
Yeah. I mean, we've been beefing it up as much as we can.
Yeah.
We started, cooking a little bit earlier on some items, just trying to keep up with the demand. Like this summer was crazy busy with catering.
Yeah, we had a really crazy, I was turning people away left and right, which is like really hard for me to do, to say no, like we can't, do it.
Like
but
every time the phone rang, I was like, is that, hopefully that's just an order, right? Is that takeout? That's takeout? No, she's on the phone a long time. Oh, she's writing stuff.
writing stuff down.
She's writing stuff down.
Do-do-do-do.
Oh, she's got a calculator. And I would say to Leo, oh boy, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not for tomorrow. And then Leo would laugh. So,
Yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, it's feast or famine in this business, right? You either have a ton of stuff going on, or you're hitting a point where, people are staying home and they're not ordering out as much. Like we thought.
You got to prepare for that.
Like the summer, we had thought that the summer was like the true barbecue season. It's catering season.
It's catering season.
The restaurant doesn't start picking up until the kids go back to school.
Yeah.
And then it travels all the way through the holidays. Right. Where the restaurant's really busy and catering is only really hitting. It dies down, picks up for the couple of holidays that we have, and then we hit the real slow season, which is
I'm dreading the slow. See, that's why I'm trying to bring in all the catering, anticipating the
again,
January through March.
You're the money person.
Down.
You're the one that's driving.
That's right. You have to remember, this is what I say, you're over there like counting how many racks of ribs you can fit on a shelf, and I'm over here saying, I have to pay all these bills.
Yeah, I mean, it is what
that's part of the disconnect, and we have to stop and have that conversation.
Yep.
What can we do? And the worst time to have a conversation with you is after you've worked for the night. So my start in the morning
is my finish.
Is your finish. So I'm coming in the morning and you're leaving. So we're kind of just like, ships passing in the night or in the day.
High fives.
Virtual high fives. And I'm ready to go because, when you wake up, for you, for example, that's 11 o'clock at night, you're most productive the first 3 hours of your day. So, scientific studies have said and all of that and blah, 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 and the research. And that's when I'm ready to go and get everything done. But it's your last hour of the day, which is when you're the least productive. And I'll start talking to you about catering and, how much we need for this. And you're literally like, nope, close it all down. I can't do it. I'm done. That's it. We fail. I'm going home and I'm sleeping and I'm never waking up for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And then 2 hours later, I'm
And
all
then,
right.
and then you're like, give me the car keys. And I'm like, why don't you walk home? It's only 6 minutes around the corner.
Yeah, no. 6 minutes around the corner. No. Yeah, it's just, we're still only 2 years into it, right? And we're growing, at a good pace.
Yeah.
Probably, when we sit down and actually look at it, obviously we don't think the growth is fast enough. But when you sit down and you really look at it and where we started from to where we are right now, we're cooking a lot of food.
Well, where we started was literally, having like catering for 10 people and going to like the Wilmington Farmers Market with cold pulled pork and pork ribs and selling them out of a cooler.
Yeah.
And just like introducing ourselves to people. The first year we were in business, I think you were still working full time. I still had my own self-employed web design business and content writing business that I was doing. I had a few clients still kind of hanging on, and I was home with the kids. And we just started, showing up to like, some farmers markets and doing some pop-ups and catering for some people. And we probably brought in like $5 to $10 grand in revenue, not profit, because profit doesn't exist. And then flash forward to 2 to 3 years later, and I'm like, okay, now I have, 8,000 times that in revenue coming in, and, hundreds and hundreds of customers and clients and people relying on us. And you look absolutely exhausted right now. Did this walk kill you here or what?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. A little bit. It was the uphill.
Deep breaths.
Not the downhill, fine. Uphill, whoo.
You were yelling at me going downhill. I was walking too fast.
Yeah, you kept speeding up. But yeah, no, it's just, we've got a lot more stuff going on. Seems like we've got more employees every week.
Yeah, we do.
We had the boys for the summer help.
And they're going to leave us this week.
Yep. And then we go back to, trying to fill in positions. And
yeah, well, we have Noah, and we just hired Colin, and they are Wilmington High football players.
Yep.
Noah's captain of the team this year, and so we won't have them except for Saturday and Sunday. So, it's going to be a bit of a struggle going in. And as a small business owner and the revenue driver over here, where you're over there focusing on just smoking, and I don't mean to say just, like it's not one of the most important parts of the business, but I need time to focus on the business. And I spend a lot of time working inside the business, in the kitchen, prepping and cooking and doing things, especially on the weekends. So that's a big struggle for me. And your favorite thing to say is, I know, I understand, but, and I'm always like, stop it with the but. I need those days.
Yeah.
I can't do social media. I can't do, emails. I can't coordinate catering.
It's like we're almost at the point where that needs to be a completely separate job. Like the social media is like, I never thought running a business that, the second part of the business is social media.
Yes, you can't really run a business today without it.
It really is like so important.
And it's a full-time job. So
it really is.
Like,
you think all the videotape, all the pictures and all the videos that you need with the 19,000 different platforms you have to be on.
Then you're doing then, it's editing all day. It's cutting it together. It's, making funny things and trying to drive engagement and drive people.
I am no Steven Spielberg.
No.
I take a picture and I'm like, here you go. Here's the picture.
You're literally hard. I have to be like, hey, can you get some content of like, I'm over here. Yesterday we did the Beyond the Smoke barbecue class. We call it the Backyard Barbecue Basics, which I think we should change the name to Master Your Barbecue, because it sounds more like strong. And I'm taking pictures of you while you're talking about the meat and cutting meat and all this and that, and then I bring the class into the kitchen so I can show them the other side of stuff. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go take a walk. I'm like, where's my content?
I didn't take a walk.
Well, no, I'm just using that as a...
I was going to say, please don't put it in people's minds that I'm always constantly walking. Like I'm some vagabond that just goes off walking
no,
around
you do not
everywhere.
walk.
I don't.
Okay, so you went...
I went outside to get some air because I'd worked all night long.
And then you came and sat down. Anywho, I asked you to take pictures or content, and we get nothing. Or there was that one time I was like, hey, get a picture of, Nolan trying to learn how to cut the meat. You took a picture of his hands. Like,
again,
does the person exist behind the screen?
I am no Steven Spielberg.
You're terrible at that. So
Yeah,
I take a lot of the content, which means that I do a lot of selfies because no one's taking pictures of me. So, that's just how it goes. Hey,
Yeah.
look at me in the kitchen and so on and so forth.
But I mean, even when you think about not just us, if you think about Leo in the kitchen, right? We recently lost his assistant.
Right.
He is doing so much cooking.
Yep.
And he does it without really complaining about anything. He's had Joe now for a couple of months. Well, yeah,
About 2 months, but Joe goes back to college.
right. Damn college kids.
I mean, we've been lucky. We have some really solid
All
staff, and I think that's evident. And
We never have like the HR problems, right?
but then because I'm HR and
I
I just
know.
don't have time for that.
We never have HR problems with personnel. It's just our thing is that we, because we only have so many people, or
Yeah.
we tend to spread people a little thin at times. But
Yeah, that's a struggle that we have where we have our moments of like, okay, you've worked too many hours, and sit down and take a break or
yeah,
get something to eat.
and getting seasonal help is tough because people don't, they're not really used to seasonal help, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we have seasonal help. We have summer help,
we have summer help,
but we need
Fall
fall
help.
and winter help.
right?
Yeah,
And
and
those-
that's the struggle.
And those type of helps are in school.
Yeah.
So, we have to lean on the people that we do have, and
Which puts me in the restaurant a lot more too, and less
right,
working on the business. So I have this to-do list. It's not a list, it's a notebook. And it's like 7 pages long now. And every time I get through a whole notebook, I start a new one. And I do check things off as I go, but the list just continues to grow and grow and grow.
it's a never-ending list.
And then you're like, hey, you want to go get some charcoal? And I'm like,
Do-do.
I've got all this stuff to do. And by the way, I still have kids at home.
Oh yeah, the kids.
Yeah, don't forget about them.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of realization when you open up a restaurant, right? You never really think about, okay, this is what it takes to get the food out the door, but what does it take, to get the food?
What does it take to actually get the customers in the door for you to have food to go out?
Yeah,
Like if we don't
there's-
have customers,
There's
we don't have.
no way. It's craziness, right? And to do it, this is our first restaurant, so I don't think there was
It's our first restaurant that we've owned. It's not the first restaurant I've ever
No,
worked in.
right.
But for you,
yeah,
it's and it's a different atmosphere from where you came from.
yeah. So,
But
however, it's been very rewarding. We've met some really, really, really nice people.
yeah, we have some awesome customers, and
We've got a couple of ladies that come in every Wednesday. They're hysterical. I call them the Norms, like in Cheers.
yep,
They're terrific.
they're sisters.
They're-
They try something different off the menu every single time. They sit at a special table every
Yeah,
single time.
Every time.
And we just chat with them.
And then the second we have a special, they're
Yeah,
walking. They're walking
yep.
through the door.
yeah, we love them.
Yeah, love them.
You call them the norms. I've been calling them the normettes, because they're women.
Yeah. But they're always so cheerful. They're
Yeah.
always so happy.
That's one of the things about this restaurant, too. And I've worked in a lot of, I won't name any names, but I've worked in a few restaurants in my time, and a lot of those atmospheres are very negative and even demeaning or, just really hard. Like you work, the service industry is not an easy industry to be in, dealing with people and dealing with customers. And when you work in a negative environment, it makes it even worse. And I feel like where we are, with our staff that we have such a positive, upbeat vibe that people love to come in and see us.
Yep.
Like we have Sheila giving everybody hugs when they walk in the door. And, I'm not a hugger, and I have to make sure I tell them, hey, I know Sheila gave you a hug, but please don't touch me.
Yeah, I mean, we see the same, 20 to 30 people all the time. And then
You just like totally limited our, like we only have 20 or 30.
no,
Okay.
I'm saying
you know who you are.
we have a lot of regulars. That
We do.
come
We
in
have loyal customers and
multiple
regulars.
times a week.
Yep.
Like you would never think a barbecue place would have weekly regulars.
Well, we had consulted with somebody in the restaurant industry, just to get some like idea on what, things were like. And he had said how years ago, another barbecue chain, not a small local family-owned thing, tried to come into Massachusetts, and they had done a study that said, most people get a craving for barbecue. They go out to eat barbecue, and then they feel like crap after. So they don't come back for barbecue, for months until they get another craving. And that was one of the things that we prided ourselves on, besides having great customer service, is that our food is actually, quality, simple, made from scratch food, including the meat, that people are coming back multiple times a week. We've actually had people who will come in twice a day. They will come and get lunch and dinner, and then they come back again the next week, or they come back, every day.
Yeah, because it's not loaded with, junky,
MSG
and
all kinds of like injections and preservatives, and, everything is fresh.
Yeah.
So that that's how we start. We start our, our preps. We make everything that week. It's not being, loaded with all of that stuff and, put away and held over or taken out of,
And by Thursday, we're remaking everything.
Storage is an issue for us. We run out of stock.
Yep.
We run out of storage.
But it also keeps the food extremely fresh. Like potatoes are being done all the time. Mac and cheese are being done all.
Yes, and our potatoes are not instant.
No, we mash them ourselves.
We peel them and we mash them ourselves.
Which takes a day.
Before Leo took that over, I used to have to do that with my arthritis hands. So I got a little insulted when we got a comment saying that our potatoes were instant.
Yeah, because they're blended.
Yeah.
Again, people are always going to have opinions and stuff, but what I can't stand mostly is when people put out reviews without asking us questions.
Yes.
To say, hey, these seem like instant mashed potatoes.
Yeah, they didn't ask any. Yeah.
I mean, you can clearly see if you walk in our front door, you can see the back of the kitchen.
Yep.
You can see the amount of dishes, people chopping everything.
Yep.
Just ask us. We'll tell you.
And that's what we post all over social media too.
Just ask. You get a question, ask it.
But you'll notice though that the customers, especially the ones who leave the good reviews for us, they're talking to us. They're asking us questions. They're hearing about our process, and they're following us on social media, which is great. It's always nice when somebody says, "Hey, I follow you on social media," and I'm like, "Hard work pays off."
Yeah, no, and even like the people that you don't realize are following you. One day they walk in and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw this on Facebook." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I may have posted that 3 days ago."
Well, see, that's where that level of like consistency and follow-up really comes from in business. Like sometimes it feels annoying. Like, okay, I'm constantly having to post. But we are small business owners. This is how we make our life. Like if you worked for your company and you worked hard every day and you got a paycheck, that's how you make your life. But that company still has to bring in revenue. And I have to bring in revenue. And so consistently, and one of the rewards of that is that the most consistent I can be has people coming in because they will see us for months on end and then say, I have to get to that place. And then they finally come in
Yep.
and try us out, and then we get a great review.
Yep.
And so that makes a huge difference.
We have seen an influx of other restaurant owners coming in, which I really enjoy seeing and hearing other restaurant owners coming in because they understand the process of getting the food out.
Yeah.
And they'll give you a hard critique if they think they have to. And
and it's especially
so
helpful for people who are like been in the industry for a while. Like we had the owner of our favorite breakfast place came in, and he's been working in the industry. And our favorite breakfast place, by the way, is North Ave Diner in Wakefield. I'm sorry to all the Wilmington places, but we've been going there for years. We love them. And we always like to sit with Jill. So, but he comes in and he came in and he's been in the restaurant industry for years. And it's like, we're only in year 2. The business has been around for more than 3 years with catering, but year 2 with the doors open in our brick and mortar, and it can get we can get pretty tired.
Yeah.
And then it's you mentioned this earlier when we were talking. It can be hard to see how far we've come when we're in the nitty-gritty of the day-to-day process.
Yep.
When, I'm bidding out a 500-person job, it's secretly you're panicking because you have no idea how you're supposed to cook for 500 people in one day and keep the restaurant open. And then I don't win that 500-person job, and you're sad but secretly happy because you don't have to cook for 500 people.
Yes.
And I'm over here like, but I have to pay bills.
It's just, yeah.
So, long-term restaurant owners, they give us a little perspective.
Yeah.
Of what it's like and what they've been through.
And it helps ground us. Like, maybe we shouldn't be thinking that we should be way ahead in 2 years.
Like where we are. I mean, if you think about where we came from, that little farmer's market, and on Sunday afternoons selling a pint of pulled pork out of our cooler with one table and some cornbread samples to, serving hundreds of people all week long. And parties, catering parties with 200-300 people.
Yeah. I mean, there are days I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Are we making enough money? And then
we are clearly not making enough money.
Well, it's the first.
But that's exactly,
Yeah.
And that's what everyone says. It takes at least 5 years before you ever see any kind of return on an investment like this.
And then I'll talk to Dave from AJ's, and he's like, bro, you're doing just fine. He's like, you are exactly, if not further ahead of where you should be in 2 years. He's like, just keep pushing.
Yeah.
Rick from Tremezzo's has said the same thing. You just got to push through the bad times. And if you can get through the bad times, then you know that you can get through them. And there's light at the other end of the table. And then what happens? You come running into the restaurant on a Wednesday afternoon and said, I just landed a really big catering job that's going to set the restaurant up for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
How am I
doing it?
How am I going to cook all that food?
How many people is it? When is it due? And how many racks of ribs am I?
So, by the way.
Yeah.
I just sold 40 racks of ribs. Can you fit that on the smoker?
At the end of the day, that's what it takes to keep the restaurant going. It's like the catering is like, I never thought that way until very recently, in like the last 3 months. Oh, we need the catering for when the restaurant's slow, or to help build the book of business to get people in the door, because I've noticed, and I'm sure you have the data behind it.
I probably do have the data.
95% of the people that we do catering with become customers.
Right.
They come back in to get individual meals, or they call us back.
Well, I would say 75%, and then the other 25% are customers who then hire us for catering.
Right.
Because they are like, oh, you do catering? I have many people who come in.
So, all in all, everything is working and is.
Well, we've definitely had some lessons learned. We've had to do some shifting.
Oh, yeah.
it's like we started off like, let's try and push, dine in, but we only have 3 tables. So, and we learned that, nobody in New England likes to wait, especially in cold weather, for a barbecue place to
Nope.
sit down and eat.
Nope.
Although we will go on the weekends, we will go on a little bit of a wait with the dine-in tables.
Yep.
And then, we went to let's, push takeout and try and bring that draw in, and let's, move into the DoorDash and Grubhub communities. And that's just not really where it's at either. And then we said, well, we have such a huge following when it comes to catering and parties and events and things that we're doing that's something we actually kind of got away from in the first year when we opened the restaurant.
Yep.
There was no networking. There was no events. There was no pop-ups. We were so busy that, so now we're back into like, let's really drive that catering, because that, we have the restaurant open. People come in, and enjoy it and eat, and we have takeout, and we still do all of that. But the catering is where our largest book of business is.
Yep. Which leads us into getting more equipment, maybe a food truck down the road, which would be amazing
we
for us.
We are trying to win a food truck right now, too.
No, I
so
know.
If you want to find us on Facebook and go online and vote for us and maybe help us win a food truck so that we don't have to pay for it, that would be amazing.
Who's running the food truck? Who's cooking for the food truck?
Yeah. Don't worry. I've been thinking about that, too.
So, yeah.
Clearly, it's me because I do everything.
We, we're looking at some options to
Well, it's all about
grow
the business
business
growth. Like, we can't,
we're always looking ahead to see what we can do for more, especially for capacity for food.
Everything changes constantly. So that's exactly like how we were, hey, we're going to push dine-in. That's not working. Let's try not that it wasn't working. It's just that we don't have the capacity for that.
Yeah.
Let's do takeout. Takeout just isn't really where, barbecue is the greatest, because we tend to get the worst reviews when we have, DoorDash or takeout
We
orders.
can't control the food after
Once
it
it
leaves.
leaves.
Or if they pick up late
And
the
if it's
food.
cold when they get it, or
Like,
if it's been tampered
I can only
with.
keep it warm until you pick it up.
Yeah.
And after
so that can be a struggle.
or I'm missing something, but the bag was opened
Yeah.
and unstapled.
And then the platforms will just like dock us half of our bill.
Yeah. But that's another
That's another story for another day.
story for another day.
Yeah. And then moving into catering, and that's really where, like, the idea is if we get a food truck, we now have a mobile option, because we're popping back into festivals and pop-ups. And we had an amazing festival this summer that we planned in our parking lot with Casablanca next door.
Which went well. We had alcohol.
And, we did have alcohol, but we called it the Barbecue Rita Fest when we started planning it. But we couldn't have any margaritas because apparently in the state of Massachusetts, you can't, like, pour open liquor out at outdoor events. It can only be, like, beer and canned cocktails and stuff like that. So, honestly, we had a big crowd, but only, like, 10 people had a beer outside.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they would get some food and then go in to Casablanca
Which
and
was
order
great,
a margarita.
it was good for them.
The whole point of it was to drive some business over to our, small location that, we're
people
kind of
just drive by.
We're on a pass through. People just keep driving by us.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think that's our biggest, hurdle is how do we get people
It's location.
to notice us, right?
I think that's the biggest hurdle in any restaurant's business, because if you're not in the prime location, and that's where the social media comes in. That's where the word of mouth comes in. That's where the networking.
Signs.
Well, signs like the barbecue sign we keep putting out.
Yep.
That somebody keeps stealing.
Yep. We'll find them.
So, yeah, hopefully. I wish somebody had a camera over in that direction. We'll find them.
We'll find them.
We have our eyes and ears and word around town. So if you're listening to this and you're stealing our barbecue sign.
And you're telling people you're stealing it.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
We already have an idea. Last night I was driving home and I was like, the barbecue sign. And I pulled over at the edge of the road and, like, stuffed it in the car and brought it home with me because, it keeps disappearing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's location is a huge struggle. Like, even though we're in a large town with a really huge supportive community and everybody comes out to see us, and we had the festival, that was a a whole thing put together. We had Jackie and Jeff with Next Generation Concerts, and they did the Local Connection as an open mic, and lots of singers come out and play. And our daughter,
Yep.
she performed for the very first time in front of a crowd of people, and I literally cried my eyes out. So that was beautiful.
Yep.
She's only 10 years old, and she can't wait to do it again. And, that helped. And then, then we're still in this drive-through location, and, we're still pushing the social media and still trying to get,
We're getting there. It's getting better every week.
So we have a bunch of other festivals coming up,
Yep.
networking.
Stay tuned for some bigger things happening, right? We've got some things in the fire.
Yeah, we have that's part of the whole goal planning process is, every day, every week, every month, we have to evaluate where we're at and what we're doing and how do we keep drawing in that business. Because again, like years ago when they did that barbecue study, they said, oh, people only want to eat barbecue once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our goal is to say, no, they want to eat it all the time.
Every day.
Come enjoy some barbecue every day. We've got sandwiches. We've got platters. We try to do different things.
Different options. Yep.
But
that's a day in a life. That's it. That's what we got.
I mean, it's more to it than just that. You can tell that Sean's starting to get tired and he wants to end it because he's like, okay, it's time's up. Let's bring out the Muppet reference.
Oh, no, you're the one.
Take the hand out of the sock puppet.
I wasn't going to mention the Muppets not once, and then you go into it. I was warned. No more Muppets. And then here you go.
Yeah, so I guess that's it then? That's what you're saying? You're telling me it's over?
It's the first one back. Got to get in the thick of it.
I have a lot more things on my list that I wanted to talk about, and you're rushing me.
We just talked about
the
never-ending list of things to do, and if we don't wrap this up, we'll never get to them. We'll never get to our list.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
All right. So I have no idea what we'll talk about in the next episode, but we will see you in the next episode.
We will be prepared in the next episode.
And we were prepared for this.
But we won't be walking here. And
we'll have our car back from we're from Wrap Solutions. So if you see us driving around town, give us a honk or a wave.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to that building, you should check it out because
oh my God,
it is the Taj Mahal of Wilmington.
Yeah.
They did such a nice
job. It's so cool inside. You walk in and they have like a candy bar, like you're at a wedding.
They have stepped the game up.
It's like old movie theater
so
style
far
themed.
Above everybody.
Like I just want to hang out there.
That's what I was telling the owner, Keith, the other day. I'm like, I could just come in here and look at the candy and look at the floor.
Look at the candy. You'd be eating the candy.
Yeah, and just walk around.
And not, yeah.
It is such a nice place.
Yeah.
They did such a great job. Good for them. I hope they're extremely busy.
Yeah.
They seemed extremely busy. I would call them. They seem so down to earth.
Yeah, if you have anything that you want to do.
They do.
Yeah, they're really awesome people.
They do all kinds of graphics, window graphics. They just don't wrap cars. I would even call just to go look at the place.
I know.
And pretend you need something wrapped.
Well, let's not waste anybody's time here. I mean, they are business owners. Like
No.
Let me remind you, Sean, that the people who run the business got stuff to do.
They're really nice
Yeah.
people. I'm glad that they were able to wrap our vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to come out amazing.
Yeah, we can't wait to see it. Are we going to walk there?
Hello, Uber. Uber? Yep. Okay, thank you.
Be there in 10 minutes.
We're not walking anywhere. I'm walking to the Dunkin' Donuts around this corner, and I'm ordering an Uber.
Right now, people are probably wondering why we only have one car.
Because we own a restaurant. All right, everybody.
All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you, WCTV, for hosting our podcast and producing and helping us out. And we're happy to be here. And we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Erica, we're going to wrap this up.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. This was Through Fire and Oak. We're going to see you guys in the next episode.